Hi, welcome back to the show. My name is Nelda, and today we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein and Jacob Zuma. Now, I never thought that combination of names was ever going to come out of my mouth because tell me why. I was just scrolling, looking for news this morning, as one does, and I'm like a hound dog for African news. I was just like, I think there will be an African name in those files. I mean, there already were some names, but I was just like, I feel like there's somebody we haven't mentioned. And tell me why. I look at the BBC and I see Jacob Zuma mentioned in the Epstein files. And I was like, aha, let's see what it's about. To be fair though, just because somebody's named in the Epstein files doesn't mean naturally they're a criminal. Yes, Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted criminal. Yes, we get it. But the context here is that in 2010, in March of 2010, the president of South Africa at that time, Jacob Zuma, was invited by the Queen of England and Britain and the islands, whatever they're called. And he went for a banquet. And that was not all that happened. Later on, during his visit in March of 2010, somebody decided to arrange a dinner for him from Jeffrey Epstein's team. And this person went around looking for people to join, and they emailed a Russian model, and they were like, hey babes, come through. You're cute. You're going to bring your aura and your presence, and we're going to love it. And I'll put the screenshots as well so you people know I'm not lying to you. But they emailed this lady, and this lady came back and said, oh yeah, of course, I'd love to attend. I've been to Japan, and I've been to France, and I'm such a cute model. I'm represented by this agency. And so that lady went. So the story, the shocking part of this story for some people is that there was a Russian model at that dinner, and it was arranged specifically for Jacob Zuma, and that Jeffrey Epstein, nobody really knows if Jeffrey Epstein was there because there was one email which I will link as well so you guys can read it by yourselves, and also we'll put in screenshots. There was an email that Jeffrey Epstein sent to somebody that nobody has seen, but then the response has been seen by people, and in the response I'll read it out to you so you know I'm not lying. Somebody said, Jeffrey dash, so the Russian model, was a delight last night and enchanted all those she met. Her beauty apart, she displayed an elegance and natural charm that is a rare combination to find anywhere these days. So a very big thank you for the introduction. And then there's a lot of reductions in between. And then he says at the end, by the way, Jacob Zuma was much more impressive and engaging than I thought he would be. So first of all, if I were Jacob Zuma, I'd be very offended. I'll be very offended. Like, you thought I was going to be boring, huh? You thought I was going to be boring, huh? But he ended up being actually very charming. So based on this reading, personally, I think maybe Jeffrey Epstein wasn't there. What would you be telling Jeffrey Epstein that Jacob Zuma was much more exciting to Jeffrey Epstein if Jeffrey Epstein was there? So I don't think he was even there. But even if he was, the issue is if Jeffrey Epstein was at that dinner, the concern would be, why would he be hanging out with the president of South Africa? Because this was in 2010 and Jeffrey Epstein was convicted in 2008. He pled guilty to paying money to sleep with a minor. That is disgusting behavior. Disgusting behavior. You guys are bringing on my American accent. But I think that at the end of the day, I'm only covering this because, first of all, I thought Africans were immune to the Jeffrey Epstein hand, but turns out no. But second of all, I think to me, this is just, I don't know, it's an implication of the way the world is built and how I don't like using the word the elites because I think that is it sounds like conspiratorial language. But it's just this idea that even if, and this is alleged information because the Jacob Zuma Foundation has come forward and said they have no idea what we are talking about. They're like, babes, we are not associated with that man. You guys are just trying to ruin Jacob Zuma's name. But even if Jacob Zuma didn't know who Epstein was, I think somebody in his circle must have known. But to me, if he knew and he still went to that dinner that was arranged with Jeffrey Epstein, to me it would be like, I don't know, it would be like, yeah, I know he's a convicted offender, but so what? Like, what you gonna do about it? And that is the vibe that I've gotten from this entire Jeffrey Epstein situation, is that even though the files were released like on Friday last week by the United States Department of Justice, nobody's gonna be like hurt in any way. I mean, some people are already being hurt by public opinion, but that is as far as it will go. When it comes to like people going to jail, people being like put through as offenders, that's not gonna happen because the like rich people in power are just like, yeah, we were in the Epstein files, we were friends with Epstein, so what? What you gonna do about it? Beat us up? No. And I think that's kind of embarrassing. I think that's such a shame. However, I'm still reading through the files, so I'm happy that so far I've come across nobody else. I mean, Elon Musk is mentioned. He's South African by origin. That's such a weird. He has citizenship in South Africa. That's what I'm gonna say. But I'm just glad to see that there aren't too many Africans so far. And hopefully, if I find something else, I'll bring you guys the information. And thank you so much for watching. You'll see me in the next video. Bye.